Linda. So thanks for setting up your next dates and laying that out for me. It looks like you have a really solid plan moving forward, so you'll get all of this completed. Especially, you've been talking about these COVID restrictions and they're getting tighter and tighter around here. So making sure that you've given yourself some space and you have one in your home studio. So I think having that as a backup plan is a great idea. All right, so you're photographing these women, this Sexy Mary project that you've created. And you talk a little bit about growing up Catholic, and I didn't know that before, and I think that's really important for you to include in your artist statement. I think it adds more depth to your project, whether you still practice Catholicism or if it's something that you moved away from. I don't think that matters. I think and I was raised in a religion, it's really embedded in you, even if it's not something that you're actively participating in. There's um, so many rules and guidelines that you're like really embedded with growing up. So I think this is a great project, and bringing in that personal side to it makes it even more interesting. You had talked about using the same lens for all of your images, and I think that's a smart idea. I don't think that's essential to this project. More so than that, I'm going to talk about the lighting, and I think having similar lighting will be more essential to this. And then you also talked about the props. So you have the rosary here, and you talked about maybe, it was down here, yeah, someone holding a crown. And I was just trying to think of other representations, and I think so the crown, the rosary beads, and I think even like nails, right? Like large nails would be something you can use. And then there's that sign that we always see in the imagery, or the Western interpretation of Jesus on the crucifix, that sign that's above him. So I think that could be something you could incorporate if you wanted. But having the rosary here, I think, starts to add to that meaning. So before we just had the covering over the head, the blue veil, and here you're including that again, but you're also including the rosary. And like you talked about in your writing, as we look at these images, we're going to understand it better. Like as you build out this series and the viewer goes through them, we're going to put things together. So this is a good addition for this image. All right, so here again, you're close to your subject. You said you're using the same lens. Of course, you're a little bit different here. You're a little further away. It's just going to depend on the studio that you're in. Having the mirrors around the outside, seeing what, like the hardwood floor, we get an idea of where we are. Your subject looks really comfortable in front of the camera. The lighting here I find a little bit distracting, having the brighter light come from behind her. It almost feels like it's window light here instead of here, where it seems like it's the lighting that would be in the studio, even though I know you lit this and you lit it really well to give the feeling of like stage lights in the studio. And that's missing a little bit here. And I think having the idea of window light kind of pulls the sexiness away from it a little bit. We think of this as being something that would be done more in the evening, right? So having your lighting, and I'm still guessing that this is your lighting, but it's looking more like window light, having it look more like stage lighting as you move forward, I think will bring the series together even more and push this sexy side of it, which is really important. You need to balance out these two sides of it. Other than that, I think that you have a solid image. Here, it seems like the composition might have worked a little bit better if you would move to the right as you were photographing it, and instead of including this tree, kept in the cloth behind her. You don't want to cut into that, but switched your angle of view so we were seeing more of the background. That being said, working in a mirrored studio seems like so difficult to me. So I'm impressed that you're getting this and not having big reflections off the windows or the mirrors or anything. So I understand that this composition might have been what worked best given the space that you were in, and that's totally acceptable. But keep going with this. I think your subjects seem really comfortable with you. Your point of view is working well. I'm not sure they're all going to be sitting on the ground like this. You might want to play with that positioning a little bit more, having them standing, or I don't know what they would how you would have them portrayed if they were like working in the pole a little bit more, but that might be interesting to include also.